Hello.
Hey, Michael.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good.
I
It's
thought
nice.
we had spoken before.
About 5 times.
Yep.
You
I
know,
know her. Yeah.
yeah, you're going to put a face to the Southern accent.
Nice.
Nice seeing
It's a
your
little
face.
bit of a mix-up. I hope I'm not too late, but Harlan there was a little bit of confusion. So here I am.
There you go. No, you're right on time. Well, let's talk first about Dahmer. And you apparently picked the right project because it's now the fifth most successful premiere in Netflix history.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't this kind of creepy? Think about it.
Well, well, your first time working with Netflix too, right? On a Netflix project.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what interested you in the series?
It's a job. That's my first. I love to work. And Ryan Murphy. Not necessarily in that order. I mean, to work for Ryan Murphy, I really think he's a genius, and I was thrilled. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah, he is. It was done very well, I thought.
yeah.
Did you have to audition?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
I think I got it because Jerry Pass, my manager, did the video, and at the end they needed a full body, and I jokingly said, "Well, if I'd known you were going to do that, I'd have worn a bra." And apparently, he left that in when he sent in the video, and it got a big laugh. And I'm convinced that's why I got the job. You never know in this business, do you?
no, you absolutely don't. Did you have someone working with you for I guess, the Midwest or Wisconsin accent?
Yes, I did. They had a dialect coach who was wonderful, and I also have family that live in the Midwest, so I've heard the accent, and I was told I didn't do a terrible job. I hope I didn't, but
Yeah. I'm not real familiar with that accent, really. So I don't even know what they call it. I guess it's the Midwest.
Midwest, yeah,
Midwest. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, tell me.
Very pronounced. My
Yeah.
daughter-in-law actually, but she speaks with a very pronounced Midwestern accent. So I just kept kind of hearing her in my mind.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. So tell me about Catherine Dahmer and what you were told about her character too.
I tried to do research, and well, I mean, I did research, and there was very little about her. There were home movies of her kind of walking around and holding her cat and stuff, but there was very little about who she was really. Or so I watched a lot of his interviews with Jeffrey Dahmer's interviews, and that was really interesting and chilling, because he talked about the murders like he was talking about a grocery shopping list. He was so detached from what he was actually talking about. So that was really basically interviews with him and his father, and a little bit of video of her, but not hearing her voice or anything, but just to get a sense of what she looked like and how she moved and so on.
Mm-hmm. And now, it was interesting to me that she wasn't. It seemed like she knew something was wrong, but she didn't, of course, know exactly what for most of the film. Is that kind of how you played it, or?
No, I tried to play it that she really was in such denial that,
Okay.
at one point in the series, she says, well, I think they may have cut it out because it probably could have gotten a laugh, I guess. But there was a point where well, no, that was left in, where she says, what's that smell coming from the basement?
Yeah.
Well, it's a dead body, Grandma, and I'm cutting him up and frying him for dinner. So, the denial is just a powerful mechanism. We all have it to some degree about certain things. And I think she was just in complete denial about her grandson. Who could imagine I mean, I have a grandson living with us who's gorgeous and handsome and sweet and kind and everything you would want a grandson to be. And if I suddenly discovered that he was killing people and I didn't know about it, I don't know, I wouldn't stop loving him,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'd be horrified and I would turn him in.
Yeah. It was interesting to me the way they approached it. And I've seen a couple of things about Jeffrey Dahmer, a couple of movies, and I don't think they really talked about his parents before like they did in this film, how messed up they were, and kind of, alluding to the fact that his dad, got him into the chopping up roadkill and all of that.
Dissecting a raccoon or something, I think.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have had screwed up parents or mothers who were on pills or parents who got divorced. They don't turn out to be serial killers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you watched any of his interviews, but in one that I watched, he said, I don't know. I think there's something wrong with the way my brain was wired. That was him. I'm quoting him probably not accurately, but close to what he was saying. And I think, maybe it's true that there's just a piece missing or some kind of disconnect that these people are born with, that they're capable of being so detached from the horror that they're inflicting on another human being.
Yeah, could very well be. Have you had any Waltons fans to sort of say,
I haven't gotten any hate mail yet. That may be coming, I don't know, but so far.
I have.
Really?
Yeah. Promoting your interview.
Really?
Yeah.
On Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. We put up the official Netflix poster review, and they were like, "Oh my God, you've shown Mama Walton is a monster. We can't have this."
She wasn't the monster, for heaven's sakes. Grow up, people.
People are really.
He wasn't the killer. He was.
People are really odd, aren't they?
Yeah. We all have our thing.
Not the first time it's happened to us, so we don't care. But it's just bizarre to me. It's just really bizarre. The only thing I thought you were like Mama Walton was you were trying to get him to go to church all the time.
Oh yeah, there's a likeness there. She was just oblivious. I mean, how can you not know that smell? It's human decay. I mean, if it had been me, I would have said, "Show me the damn raccoon. Show me that raccoon that you're carving up in my basement." And he's hauling these bags that by her. I don't know if that in real life, whether he was actually hauling them when she was home or anything. I don't really know the specifics, but I do know he was carving people up in her basement.
Well, his neighbor, I believe, played by Niecy Nash, which is
she was wonderful.
Yeah, great actor.
Was
she knew right away from the smell in her vent. I mean, she
knew something creepy, something very wrong was going on in there.
Yeah, yeah, unfortunate.
Nobody listened to her.
Nobody listened to her.
Isn't that horrifying?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
I guess eventually they did, but for she kept trying to get them to pay, to investigate, and they wouldn't. They didn't want to be bothered.
Well, of course, they were. I don't know whether this is true or not, but they led us to believe that the Milwaukee Police Department, these two cops were racial, and that was going on. So I think there's been some controversy about that.
Oh, really?
No, that didn't happen, and others say yes, it did. So I don't really, I don't know for sure, but
I don't either. I hesitate to go there, but and then there's the whole homosexual thing.
That too, yeah.
I don't know. I just know these kids are very vulnerable. Some of them, that are young and they don't feel loved for whatever reason in their family life, and so a good-looking, charming guy comes along and their prey, really. It's awful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really sad. What do you have to say about Evan Peters' performance?
I just adore him. It wasn't hard to be a loving grandma to him, because he can take that. He took that part, and certainly in our scenes, um, and he was just so lovable and sincere and present, that it was easy to love him. I didn't have to work at it at all, and I had to put all my knowledge of what Jeffrey Dahmer did. I had to put that in the back seat of the car and just deal with the present moment with my grandson.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to have a grandson living with me now, temporarily, while he goes to school. And he's the sweetest guy in the world. He's good looking, he's sweet, he's charming. And if I found out tomorrow that something, like this was going on, I would still love him. I wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
I'd turn him in, but I wouldn't stop loving him.
Yeah. Yeah. What was your toughest scene? Do you have one that was particularly tough for you to do?
Being with him?
Yeah. Well, I think that was where you had a scene with your son, and I think that was it, except for him, wasn't it? I believe.
Yeah. Most of my scenes were with Evan, but I did play dad. I hate that. I'm too close to it now. I hate it when I have to play dad. It's like, wait a minute, I can count on my fingers. But
Was that tough? Is that or is that tough?
difficult, because both Richard Jenkins, who plays his father, and Evan were, as actors, were so generous and easy to be with. And so in the moment, we were in the moment together, whatever the scene was that we were playing, that it was just a real pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Enough, because, she didn't know what was really going on in her basement. Or she didn't think she knew.
Mm-hmm. Have you watched the entire series?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Have you watched the entire series?
No. I can't take it. I wouldn't have watched it, except I like watching myself, because I learn a lot when I'm watching. And I didn't think I did a terrible job. Sometimes I watch and I go, oh my God, I should have been fired. And other times I watch and I say, that worked, that didn't work. I can detach from it and just learn. I learned so much watching the Waltons. My youngest son and I used to watch it together. The two older boys weren't interested, but Luke and I would have dinner and we'd watch the show, and I learned a lot.
But you didn't want to watch this because of the creepy. Is that the reason?
I don't watch that kind of thing much anymore. I'll probably go back when I'm a little more separated from it, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And watch it, and just because I think Peter Evans is marvelous as an actor. How can you end up liking someone like Jeffrey Dahmer, and yet there's a part of him that he managed to make beguiling, and so you could understand how these kids could be seduced by him. If he played him like a monster, you wouldn't believe that the kids would have gone with him. But if he played him with a certain kind of charm, and you could understand how a young boy, vulnerable kid, would be attracted to a person like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I thought you were wonderful, and look for an Emmy nomination, in my opinion. So,
from your mouth to God's ears, wouldn't that be fun?
that would be. Well, now, speaking of the Waltons, 50 years this year. Let's see, 50 years, September 14th.
12 when we did that.
When the Waltons premiered. Do you have any reunions this year?
Yeah, there's one in Missouri. I think we were going to go, and something has come up and I can't make it. There's going to be one at the Hollywood Museum. Do you know when?
November.
I think it's November 17th, but I'm not sure. It's the Hollywood Museum here in LA.
Right.
Yeah, it's a daytime thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll all be there. Richard will be there as well. He's doing To Kill a Mockingbird, so he'll be in town at the Pantages. I'll drop a little hint.
Mm-hmm.
He's wonderful, and I got to see it in Raleigh, North Carolina. I was visiting a friend, and he happened to be on tour there, so he's fabulous. He plays Atticus Finch. To Kill a
Yeah, I'd love to talk to him about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's really great,
yeah.
really great actor.
He's
Um,
always been good on stage. Shockingly unrecognizable in a
mm,
wonderful way.
mm. Well, there you go. That's a sign of a good actor, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Um,
I'm blocking on the name of the play I saw him in. The first time, and we were doing the Waltons at the time, but it was the first time I'd seen Richard on stage.
okay.
And I, I I didn't even recognize him. I mean, he was so good that I forgot it was Richard. What was it? It was about a newspaper, and I cannot think the name of it. But anyway, I'll think of it tonight at midnight.
You can call me if you want. You have my number.
Okay. Still can't.
Well, I saw some fans online were talking about their favorite episodes since it's 50 years. And
Waltons?
one was Grandma Comes Home, and another one was An Easter Story, and John's Crossroad, which was possibly the only time Olivia went into a bar.
Oh, I don't even remember that one. Did I go in and haul him out? Good girl, Olivia.
I think you ordered something with alcohol, though. It was like an orange. It was something an orange, not an orange crush, an orange something.
Oh, what fun! Did I get a little loopy?
I don't think so.
No. I know I drank champagne in one show.
Yeah,
maybe when we
anniversary.
Yeah, I drank champagne.
Yeah. I liked the Search a lot because it showed Jim Bob coming of age, helping his mom and sister be safe until they were found. They were lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Have you got an all-time favorite?
I think The Anniversary is one of my favorites because I really loved Ralph. Ralph and I really loved each other deeply. It was a really wasn't sexual. It was just spiritual love that we had for each other, and mutual respect and disrespect at times. It was kind of like a marriage without sex, if you will. And I loved him so much that it was easy to do the scenes with him. I remember once we had a big argument about something. It wasn't about the show. It was about something totally unrelated. And I was really steaming. I was so upset, but I had to knock on his dressing room door, and I said, "We have to make up because I can't shoot the scene if I'm still mad at you." So, and of course, he opened his arms and gave me a big hug. And he was a lovely guy. I loved. He was a complicated man, but a lovely man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's nice. Why other than the fact that it was about a family, why do you think that Waltons is still so popular today?
Maybe the nostalgia part of it. I don't know. I mean, is it still popular today? I do get fan mail.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely.
I think for the people who had a childhood like that, it's comforting to go back to it. And for people who didn't have a childhood like that, I get a lot of letters from people saying, "Your character taught me how to be a mother." I mean, that's really rewarding, isn't it?
It is.
I didn't write it, so I can't really take the credit for it, but it makes me feel good when I hear it.
That's nice.
That there was a purpose, it's not just mindless acting. There was a purpose that Earl intended and wanted people to benefit from. So, he managed to walk a fine line, and we helped him. I mean, we got pissed off with him sometimes because I said, she's too perfect. You got to give her, she's got to scold the wrong child sometime, I mean, who wants to live with a perfect person every week for an hour, And he hated doing it because he was writing about people, his real mom and the Walton sisters were real people. So he had to walk a difficult line. But every now and then he would allow me to not be perfect. And that was fun. Those are fun things to play.
Yeah, when Olivia goes off to the city to be a dressmaker, I thought that was great because we give the woman a little bit of independence, and
she joined the Red Cross.
Yeah, she did that too later. Yeah.
So I have to give the writers credit because it's not easy to write about a nice person and make that person interesting. The English do it very well because they're not afraid of writing eccentricity,
Right.
you know.
Mhm.
But I think somehow they managed to make her a good person, but she had her drawbacks. She was judgmental. She was righteous at times.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud that I was part of that show.
Yeah. Have you watched the new, let's say the new cast of the Waltons? First one was last year, and the next one comes on November 20th, Thanksgiving.
I just saw the first one. I haven't seen the second one. Obviously, it's not on, but I thought they did a really nice job. But it's a very hard thing to recreate something that was on for how long? 9 years, 10 years? I don't know how long it was on, but it was on for a long time. So audiences got very, very familiar with the characters, and to suddenly see a whole new set of Waltons is a hard adjustment to make. But for new people who've never watched the old show, I hope it'll attract a whole new audience. Maybe they'll have to come back as a great grandma or something.
Well, that's a good idea. Yeah. You made so many guest appearances in so many TV shows. Do you have a favorite? I didn't realize you were on Law and Order Special Victims Unit as a guest star until I was watching the whole thing over again a couple of weeks ago. And then, of course, you were on The Young and the Restless, shows like that. Do you have a favorite guest appearance or one?
Scrubs. That was my favorite. I think 6 or 7 episodes of Scrub, and I just loved that character. She was a really terrific character that they wrote, and I really enjoyed playing her. It's always tricky going onto a set where people have been together. I used to feel for guest actors on our show because we all joked around and we knew each other, and we'd be getting ready for a scene and we'd be kidding around. And the guest actors were nervous and they were focused and trying to be focused on what had to come up, and we're kidding around. And it's hard to be on a set with a bunch of people that have been together a while and you're the new guy in town. So I felt that in Scrubs a little bit, but they were very kind. I mean, it wasn't that they were being difficult or anything. I just felt like the new kid in town. And I understood then how it must have felt for people coming on to Waltons.
Yeah. I hope you're still trying to write that book we've been talking about for years.
I totally stopped. I have a pile of stuff, but I don't know where to. I guess I'll have to get. What I was thinking lately is I have not written about the Waltons. I have not written about coming down to LA and my little VW bug and, just to check out the freeways. And suddenly 2 weeks later, I'm in a TV show playing a woman in her 40s. I was 32, and it was like a big blur. And I should write about that because it's a real Cinderella story, really.
It is, and you've got lots to say. There's been a lot.
Maybe I'll just sit down and write the Waltons, a chunk about the Waltons, and I have little chunks of this early life in Canada, theater, shows that people I've worked with. I've got about that much, but it's not a book yet, so I think I better write a chunk about the Waltons, the kids, and I'm not going to write what was really going on, but no, I will. It wasn't anything bad,
Yeah.
We were a pretty decent bunch.
Yeah.
Considering the kids weren't smoking heroin in a dark alley, they were nice kids, and their parents were decent, and Ralph and I were sober, and it was a pretty good group. Yeah.
So, speaking of theater, do you have any theater work coming up or anything? Other projects?
I was supposed to do Golden Pond in Canada this summer, but I fell and broke my wrist.
Oh,
I couldn't do it, and it broke my heart. But Karen Grassley stood in. She
Little House.
She was very good.
Mhm.
Um, she's a good actress. I like her a lot.
Mhm.
So now I'm just waiting for the phone to ring like we do when we're not working. But at least I'm still working.
Mhm.
If somebody asks me, I'm there.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't have anything coming up that I have to always ask my husband, what am I doing? What did I do? Thank
Well,
God.
you look amazing. Other than the wrist, is your health good or you
I feel terrific. Yeah, I do. Apart
good?
the wrist is pretty much healed. Yeah. But it was just a bummer because I was so looking. I love working with these people in Canada. They're just wonderful to work for, and so I was really depressed. But it could have been worse, you know.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it wasn't.
And
I'm
it's
glad.
so I can do this now without too much pain.
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't.
Yeah.
How did your husband and your sons feel about uh, the Dahmer story?
Well, my husband's right here. How did you feel about the Dahmer story? I
It
don't
was
know if you
pretty.
can
It
see
was
John.
pretty
There he
dark,
is.
but I thought Michael was terrific. The fear here was that white wig. She's been talking about wearing a wig for a long time, and all of a sudden there it was, and it actually looked really good. So I was surprised by that. And I went straight through, and a lot of people that have come up to us and said that they've been watching it serially and they loved it. And this is not only new fans, but old Walton fans have approached us in restaurants the last several days, and just they're terrific. And I was, it's been a long time since I saw Michael in something that's strenuous. And I was here when she was leaving to go do it, and so I was putting the dots together, and it was fascinating for me because I don't know, this theater stuff is another world.
Right.
John's a lawyer, so
I have my own
That's-
sense of theater.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, I agree. She was absolutely fantastic. And the white wig, it worked.
wasn't bad. I thought it worked. Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes they really look like wigs, and I thought and they also didn't make it look too nasty. I thought they did.
Yeah. They
did
did
look-
okay. Yeah, I was telling you earlier that was just a few people that didn't want us putting Mama Walton in a bad light there promoting the show.
Grow up, people.
Most of it
Really.
are Walton's fans too, and
Well, I
they
understand.
can't wait to see you in it. So
You don't want to see Mary Tyler Moore not be Mary Tyler Moore. I understand that, but
yeah,
still, I'm not. Some nice part comes along that involves me playing a Borgia or some poisoning people or something. I'm going to do it.
there you go.
People hate me, but I'll do it anyway.